Hi, everybody. My name is Bernie Mulvaney, and um, welcome to my mini TED Talk on the challenges to and benefits of effective teacher-parent partnerships. Um, I'm choosing to focus on parent-teacher partnerships as the most important um, element of fostering community involvement, a healthy school community. Um, because I think that parent-teacher relationship has a huge influence on the other components of the community, right? So we've got students, teachers, parents, administration, and then the broader community. I live in a small town. It's very rural. Parents talk to each other. They use social media to say good and bad things about what's going on at the school. A positive relationship that I can have with any parent is then going to ripple. So this is why I'm choosing this, because I think it has the most leverage in creating the kinds of environments that we want to be teaching in. Um, so what are the challenges? Okay, so we've got number one, politics. Number two, literacy. And number three is how those two things combine to create an environment of mistrust. Um, between teachers and parents. It's not a one-way thing. Um, so um, if I start with uh, these headlines, right? Okay, so we start with politics. Classroom indoctrination is alive and well, unfortunately. Okay, I'm really not going to mince words here. I don't think there's any reason for um, diplomatic jargon. Okay, so this is the far right. This is conservatives. This is conservative Republicans. Okay, that have weaponized certain issues in education to undermine education. So they pick the easy targets, right? They pick trans kids um, because they're the most vulnerable, and it's easy to create fear mongering around that. Um, But this is also just straight up misinformation when you look at this one. Okay, so number three down here, this is Virginia school district sued over alleged policy of keeping students' gender transitions hidden from parents. You read that and you should be going, what now? So someone with literacy skills looks at this and goes, that doesn't sound quite right. Okay. You throw on some critical thinking and you go, there are gender transitions that are as a policy that are happening in schools and hiding it from parents as part of that policy, you look at that and you say, that's insane because it is, and because it doesn't happen. It's just not true. Okay. This is not based in fact. But if you are dealing with parents who are ingesting this kind of information because this is the part of they're a part of a certain political base, um, then you add on top of that they have don't have literacy skills, don't have critical thinking skills, then you've got the perfect storm, right? Um, Tennessee law expands book bans in schools. Okay, so this is another thing where they're trying to kill many birds with one stone. Okay, get people really freaked out and scared about trans kids, and then we can go in and we can erase everything else we don't like from library shelves. Because if you look at the list of books that's on the Tennessee book ban list for schools, it's not all about LGBTQ. It's vastly more about Black authors, Black stories, migrant authors, migrant stories, all the groups they don't like. So it's an effort to get people to stop learning and about these other groups that they don't like. Um, so, like I said, they're killing a lot of birds with one stone. Okay, so now I want to take a look briefly, okay, about at. I'm going to switch my sharing here so that I can actually show you this. Okay, this skills map. Let's take a look here, okay? So this map is showing us county by county throughout the country literacy skills. So I'm going to zoom in here to Jefferson County, okay? That's where I live, that's where I work. We've got 3 different levels. Level 1 is essentially people who have very low literacy levels. This is things like following a recipe is too difficult. They can't do it correctly. They can't correctly parse the information that's in the directions on a prescription pill bottle. They go to the emergency room, they get the printout at the end that says, here's what you need to do to heal from this injury. They can't understand it. Okay, so we're dealing with like elementary, middle to low elementary reading levels. That accounts for 13%, sorry, of Jefferson County for people who have of Jefferson County where I live. Okay, so if we look at level 2, okay, so we're going to look at overall, sorry. That was actually 18%, like I thought. Okay, so we're looking at overall with none of these other filters. Level 2 is another 36%. So we've got 18% plus 36%, which brings us to 54. Level 2 is people who have sort of basic literacy that we would call functional or just about functional. Again, these are people at the highest level, okay? Adults at the highest end of this level. So we're looking at reading levels between probably 3rd grade and somewhere around 8th grade here, okay? And then we get to level 3 and it's about 46%. So over half, the majority of parents, okay, let's look at age groups, okay, are unable to even complete or understand the directions to assignments that their kids are doing in high school. Okay. So then if we look at high school, okay, these are parents who have less than a high school education, people who have somewhere close to a high school education. We look at level 2, level 3, level 1 in terms of education level. So we can make lots of correlations to literacy and being susceptible to misinformation. So if we switch back to, and I highly recommend going and playing around on this. It's fascinating, and it'll give you a good idea of your audience, right, in terms of parents, and really give you a nice snapshot of what you're dealing with in terms of literacy and knowledge. So if we go back here, nope. Okay. Okay, so this is just to show you in Jefferson County, the county that I live in, okay? We're looking at 40% of the population here that has up to a high school diploma, which is us saying 40% are at least, okay? Because we've got some college, which essentially that some college category is big because you really only need to have ever really taken one college course and gotten credit for it to count to be under that heading. But if we look at people with bachelor's degrees, post-grad degrees, we're looking at 25%. So we can expect that 1 in 4 of our parents could follow the directions and complete the assignments that we're giving kids in 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade. And so these are the kinds of challenges that we have, right? So we had politics, we have literacy, and then we have how they come together to create this climate of fear, of hostility. If you look at verbal or written threats at 31%, how do we overcome these things to make an impact, to create a positive relationship with parents? Which brings me then to my next point. um, which is that we use these tools, okay? The understanding of the literacy in the community, the understanding of the politics of the community, and how those things come together. We use the information from those three barriers to then understand how to communicate better. So that Michael Thompson, who's a child psychologist, he recommends that he would love to see that every parent visit every child's home, every student's home at some point during the school year. That's a bridge too far for me. That's not something that I would recommend. Um, but there's lots of things we can do. Like, why don't we invite parents? And this is an idea that I'm thinking of doing myself this year. Invite parents into our classrooms to do the same kinds of introductory activities that we do when, say, I'm starting my 10 honors kids on an argumentative research project. I let them choose any social issue that they feel passionate about. That could be abortion, right? And whether they're pro life or pro choice, my job is to help them make the best argument, not to tell them what to think. Um, so I think it could be really useful to bring parents into that process. Bring them in for a workshop, physically in person, there for a workshop where I show them how I do this so that they can see there's no grooming, there's no indoctrination. I'm just helping your kids write better. I'm helping them argue better. I'm helping them build credibility, more so than what you will see in any of those Fox News headlines. So that's one step. But I think the overarching thing is that you make it personal and you meet them where they are. Don't send home a 60-page syllabus with lots of detail and theory, and don't send that home, because especially in my community, I know they're not going to understand it anyway. I bring my vocabulary. Think about how I speak and the vocabulary I choose to use, simplify terms when speaking to parents, and make an effort to be in constant contact with every parent. So if that's 10 phone calls home a week, I can squeeze that in. Um, and the benefits then become sort of exponential, because if you have um, if you have a trusting relationship with parents, and then you have parents working in tandem and in partnership with you, then ultimately what you get in return is this. Okay. You get higher classroom engagement, you get appropriate behavior, you get academic performance all going up. And you see having to redirect in class, having to spend time, waste time on discipline referrals going down, and this constant academic struggle um, going down. You then become not the only person responsible for the students' learning, right? It becomes community, which means local community, parents, administration, teachers, and students all working together. I could talk about this forever, but I have a sense that I'm already over time. And I've tried this a bunch of times and can't get under that 10-minute level. So I am gonna end it here and invite any questions or conversation that you want to have. Thanks.